You ever watch an anime villain give a long monologue and halfway through you're like, hold up, this man is kinda spittin'. Like sure, they're blowing stuff up and causing chaos, but sometimes they actually have a point. Today we're diving into 10 anime villains who, if you really stop and think about it, might have been right all along. These aren't just evil for the sake of evil characters. These are antagonists with real philosophy, broken dreams, and in some cases, better plans than the heroes themselves. What's up guys, it's Richard back again with another video. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We're aiming to hit 100 subscribers by the end of the month, and I'd really appreciate your support. So buckle up, because this is going to be part analysis, part roast session, and a whole lot of, wait, are we the bad guys? Number 10, we have Gaku Yashiro from Erased. Okay, we're kicking things off with someone who is absolutely irredeemable on a human level. Gaku Yashiro, the teacher from Erased who turns out to be a serial killer. Now before you say, bro, what? Don't get it twisted. This man is pure evil. Full stop. No excuses. What he did to those children is horrifying and unforgivable. But what makes Yashiro interesting as a villain, not as a person, is what he represents. A philosophical void. He's not driven by childhood trauma or revenge. Instead, he's consumed by emptiness. He lacks purpose, emotion, and even a sense of identity. And in that darkness, he develops this deeply disturbing obsession with people who still fight to live, because they reflect something he can't feel. He doesn't kill for thrill or pleasure like your stereotypical crazy villain. He kills because he sees life as this cruel joke, meaningless, fleeting, and the only way he feels real is by snuffing out what he doesn't understand. That's what makes him so terrifying. He's a reflection of nihilism taken to its most extreme and evil conclusion. Yashiro isn't right, but what makes him such a powerful villain is how his presence challenges Satoru and us to think about what it means to live with purpose, even in a world full of pain. In the end, Erased isn't just about stopping a killer. It's about affirming that life, no matter how fragile, is still worth fighting for.
Number 9, we have Sato from Ajin. This man Sato. Imagine if John Wick, Magneto, and a Reddit doomer got blended into one cold-blooded war machine. That's Sato. Cool, calculated, and terrifying. In Ajin, demi-humans are immortal beings treated less like people and more like lab rats. The government literally kidnaps them, tortures them in hidden labs, and erases their existence. So when Sato picks up arms, it starts off sounding like justice. He's not wrong to be mad. He's exposing a government that's doing straight-up crimes against sentient beings. But then, Sato keeps going, and going, until rebellion turns into terrorism and justice becomes revenge. He starts off fighting for demi-human rights, but quickly decides that peace is too slow, so he wages full-on war. He's not looking for equality anymore, he's chasing domination. That's what makes Sato such a compelling villain. He forces you to ask, if your people were being tortured, would you have the restraint to play fair? Would you turn the other cheek, or would you do what he did? The scary part is we get why he started, and that makes it all the more horrifying when we watch how far he's willing to go. Number 8, we have Char Aznable from Mobile Suit Gundam. Char Aznable is what happens when a revolutionary wears a mask, a grudge, and a philosophy that's just a little too galaxy-brained. Char believes humanity is wasting away on Earth. The planet's corrupted, the Federation is rotten with elitism, and people need to evolve in space to survive. It's part eco-terrorism, part class warfare, and part cosmic Darwinism. He's not trying to destroy humanity, he's trying to force it to grow. And if a few space rocks have to fall for that to happen, well, he's made peace with that. What makes Char stand out isn't just his ideology, it's how personal it is. His father was assassinated for pushing space colonization, and Char spent his life carrying that vision forward no matter the cost. He's not wrong that the Earth Federation is broken, but dropping a literal asteroid to hit reset? That's where the maybe he has a point starts veering into full-blown bro-no territory. Still, it's rare to see a villain who genuinely believes in uplifting humanity, even if his methods are catastrophic.
Number 7, we have Tao Ren from Shaman King. Tao Ren is what happens when a traumatized child gets tired of being a pawn and decides to become the player instead. Born into a family that treats power as currency and compassion as weakness, Ren was literally raised to be a weapon. From day one, it was crush or be crushed. So yeah, when he shows up all angry and arrogant, it makes sense. But his rage? It's not aimless, it's focused. He wants to burn down the toxic legacy that raised him. He wants to be free. Ren's story is about someone who chooses to be better, but on his own terms. He doesn't believe in waiting for change, he wants to rip it from the roots. And yeah, early Ren can be ruthless, but he's not trying to hurt the world, he's trying to break a cycle that hurt him. That's not villainy for villainy sake, that's pain weaponized into revolution. What makes him so compelling is that his villain phase was actually just his growing pains. Underneath all that anger was a kid who believed the world could change. He just didn't trust anyone else to do it. Number 6, we have Doflamingo from One Piece. Doflamingo isn't just a villain. He's the cautionary tale the world government doesn't want you to hear. Born as a celestial dragon, he had everything: power, wealth, status. But when his father decided to give up that godlike privilege and live among regular people, Doflamingo's world fell apart. He watched his family get lynched, his mother die, and the people he was told were beneath him become his executioners. That's not an excuse, it's the origin story of someone who realized the system wasn't just broken. It was a lie, and he would never be powerless again. So what did he do? He rebuilt himself, not as a hero, but as a king in the shadows. He ran the black market, toppled nations, and manipulated world events like a puppet master. His philosophy? If the game is rigged, become the dealer. Control information, control people, control truth itself. What makes Doflamingo terrifying isn't just that he's cruel, it's that he's right about so much. The celestial dragons are corrupt. The world government is a farce. Justice in One Piece is just a brand name slapped onto whoever wins. And Doflamingo, he sees through it all. He's not evil because he wants chaos. He's evil because he believes the only way to survive this world is to become worse than the monsters who made it. That's not just villainy, that's a twisted kind of realism.
Number 5, we have Gendo Ikari from Neon Genesis Evangelion. Now look, Evangelion has a reputation for being brain-melting, and Gendo Ikari is at the center of that existential hurricane. Gendo isn't just a cold, distant father, he's a man crushed by grief, shattered by the loss of his wife, and utterly convinced that human connection leads only to suffering. His solution? End individuality, collapse every soul into one unified existence. No more pain, no more loneliness, no more self. Just the Human Instrumentality Project, a cosmic therapy session that never ends. Sounds insane, right? But dig deeper and it's disturbingly relatable. He's not motivated by power. He doesn't want control of the world. He just wants to never feel that kind of loss again. He wants to undo the boundaries that make us suffer alone. It's terrifying because it comes from a place of such raw vulnerability. His villainy is built on despair. The idea that the only way to save people from pain is to erase the possibility of pain entirely. It's mercy taken to an absolute extreme. Gendo is the kind of villain who makes you wonder, if you had the power to erase your pain and the pain of everyone you loved, even if it meant erasing them, would you do it? His answer was yes, and that makes him as tragic as he is terrifying. Number 4, we have Zeke Yeager from Attack on Titan. A man who looked at centuries of genocide, war, and suffering and said, what if we just stopped being human altogether? Zeke isn't evil in the classic sense. He's not driven by greed or hatred. He's driven by despair and by an unsettling kind of logic. He was born to a radical father who saw him as a pawn in a political revolution, betrayed that dream, and ended up in the clutches of Marley. There he learned that Eldians are hated, feared, and slaughtered, no matter what side they're on. His conclusion? The Eldian bloodline is cursed. If you can't stop the world from fearing you, then stop existing. No more Titans, no more cycles of violence, no more children born into suffering. Zeke thinks sterilizing his entire race is an act of compassion. Let that sink in. He's trying to save people by ending them. He doesn't want power, he wants peace, but it's a peace that requires annihilation. And the scariest part? He might have been right. The world was never going to forgive Eldians. His plan could have ended the war without another drop of blood spilled. That's what makes Zeke so compelling. He's not a villain who enjoys the chaos. He's someone who's been broken by it. Someone who believes the only way to stop hurting is to stop existing. He's proof that the road to hell really can be paved with good intentions, especially when those intentions come from a genius with no faith left in humanity. Number 3, we have Akihiko Kayaba from Sword Art Online. Let's be real, trapping thousands of people in a death game is villain behavior. But Akihiko Kayaba wasn't your typical tyrant. He wasn't chasing power or revenge, he was chasing perfection. Kayaba saw the real world as limited, dull, constrained by rules that suppress imagination. So he built Aincrad, a world where every action, every risk, every heartbeat had meaning. Not a game, a reality where people were forced to truly live. And ironically, they did. Inside that nightmare, people formed bonds stronger than they ever did outside. They built communities, they found love, they learned how much their lives were worth because they could lose them. Kayaba didn't want to destroy lives, he wanted to create a world worth living in. Yes, his methods were monstrous, but his goal was never chaos. It was transcendence, and when he met Kirito at the top, he wasn't gloating, he was reflective, proud of what his dream became, even if it cost everything. Kayaba didn't want to play God, he wanted to build one, and in the world he created, for a moment, he did. Number 2, we have Sukuna from Jujutsu Kaisen. Sukuna isn't just a monster, he's a revolution with a heartbeat. In a world where sorcerers are tools, cursed spirits are born from fear, and power is monopolized by clans and traditions, Sukuna is the anomaly, the glitch in the matrix. He isn't bound by morality, duty, or even purpose. He does what he wants, when he wants, and in doing so, he exposes just how fake the entire system really is. Gojo was the symbol of hope, the strongest, the good guy. But Sukuna, he dismantled that hope like it was nothing. Not because he had a plan, but because power, unchained, doesn't care about symbols. It devours them. And here's the messed up part. He's not entirely wrong. The Jujutsu world is corrupt. It protects the elite, sacrifices the innocent, and calls it balance. Sukuna doesn't just reject that system, he erases it. He is freedom, in its most terrifying form. He's not a villain because he's evil, he's a villain because he's honest. And that honesty is more terrifying than any curse technique.
Number 1, we have Uchiha Madara from Naruto Shippuden. You knew this was coming, because no one, and I mean no one, was more terrifyingly correct than Uchiha Madara. He wasn't born evil, he was forged in war, raised in blood. He fought for peace alongside Hashirama, only to watch everything they built rot from the inside out. The shinobi system didn't bring harmony, it just put the violence in uniforms and called it order. Madara saw the truth. Real peace wasn't possible in a world where people cling to pain, revenge, and ego. So he offered an escape, the infinite Tsukiyomi, a dream where everyone got what they wanted. No conflict, no death, just endless peace. It sounds insane until you realize his fantasy might have been more peaceful than the reality we kept returning to. The ninja world never learned from its mistakes. The same wars, the same grudges, the same broken kids like Naruto and Sasuke inheriting the same cycle. Madara didn't want to rule the world. He wanted to end it, not with destruction, but with a mercy kill. His version of peace may have been artificial, but he truly believed it was better. That's what makes him the ultimate villain. Not because he wanted to control humanity, but because he stopped believing in it. So yeah, these characters, they're villains on paper. They kill, they destroy, they challenge the heroes we've grown to love. But when you really sit with their stories, when you strip away the explosions and the boss music, what's left is a question. Were they wrong? Not all of them wanted chaos. Some wanted peace. Some wanted freedom. Some just wanted to be seen. They lived in broken worlds, systems built on oppression, fear, and lies, and they had the guts to call it out, even if it meant becoming the enemy. That's the thing about anime. The best villains aren't just obstacles, they're mirrors. They show us how far we'd go to fix what's broken. They ask if the hero's path is really the right one, or just the more acceptable one. Maybe in another life, with different choices, these so-called villains could have been leaders, revolutionaries, even saviors, but the world didn't want them to be heroes. It needed them to be villains. And maybe that's the real tragedy. So now, I want to hear from you. Who's your favorite anime villain that might have been right all along? Was it Light Yagami? Charles from Code Geass? Or someone even darker? Drop your pick in the comments. I read everyone. And if this video gave you something to think about, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of our weekly anime breakdowns. Until next time, stay curious, stay critical, and remember, the villain might just be the only one telling the truth.